Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. And today I want to talk about Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell was from the popular TV show Martin. And Tisha Campbell just did an interesting interview that I was asked about. Somebody sent this over to me. And Tisha basically said that after her divorce to Dwayne Martin, Tisha says that she had only $7 to her name. Now, that's very surprising because we know she made millions of dollars on the show Martin. She made millions of dollars during the 2000s. So the question becomes, how does an actress like Tisha Campbell, as talented as she is, who marries another talented actor like Dwayne Martin, end up with just $7 to their name? Well, that's a story about divorce and life and the trappings of that celebrity lifestyle. So I'm going to break that down for you real quick on the Black Financial Channel. So buckle up your seatbelt, hit the thumbs up button. We're going to get started right now. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. And what's going on, El Haj? I see you in there. And Terry Cobb, how you doing? All right, so let's talk about Tisha Campbell. Let's jump into this conversation. And you guys know this platform is Black First. I got to make sure I say that we are the Black Financial Channel. We're not the financial channel that happens to be Black. We are the Black channel that happens to be financial. So anyway, here's what I saw, and it got my attention. And you guys know when I see something, I see life as a big classroom, life as a big university. I saw this Tisha Campbell story, and I said, this is really fascinating to me. And I think it's a great tale and a great lesson in terms of us understanding how economics works, how money works. So Tisha Campbell, y'all know her from Martin. She was a really talented actress. She still is. She still looks young and beautiful. She looks like she could go out there and do a lot of great things. And I'm really happy for her for that. But something happened over the last 25 years. You know, something weird happened since the days of Martin, in which Tisha Campbell, through her marriage to Dwayne Martin, ended up in this weird situation where she's now on these TV shows basically saying that she has $7 to her name. That's a little bit strange to me. And that piqued up my Dr. Boyce ears a little bit. Not my Uncle Boyce. A little bit of Uncle Boyce is in here. But Dr. Boyce, his ears peaked up because he started thinking about the fact that you have so many of these stories. It's very common to hear stories of Black celebrities who had it all, who we thought were doing extremely well. And it turned out that they weren't doing so well, right? There's so many stories of Black celebrities that we think are on top of the world that are making a ton of money, and they're just not. And so one of the things I want to really sort of bring to your attention, and this is no diss on Tisha Campbell at all. I think Tisha Campbell's awesome. You got to stop believing that everything that glitters is gold, right? That's the first thought in terms of my Dr. Boyce thought of the day is all that glitters ain't gold. In fact, sometimes if it glitters too shiny, if it's shining too hard, then you know it's probably fake gold. A lot of people love to shine with fake gold. They love to put on that cubic zirconia and that stuff that'll make your neck turn green, and they shine brighter than you, and you really think they're doing really well, when really what you're seeing is the illusion of debt. Debt allows you to pull the ultimate fake news on your friends and family and to make them think that you're doing well when you're not. And the thing about it is that we have culture that pushes celebrities to do this. We have culture that pushes celebrities, not just Tisha Campbell, but many others, to give the impression that money ain't nothing but a thing, that money's coming from everywhere. And if you don't understand the source of that money and the stability of that source and the preservation of that money, then it can lead to a lot of problems. So here's what Tisha has been saying. Tisha Campbell's doing some interviews, and she mentioned that she has $7 to her name. She was married to Dwayne Martin for about 25 years. You remember him? He was in that Tupac movie where they were playing basketball. I forgot. Somebody tell me the name of the movie. I can't remember what it's called. But I know he's a good actor, right? He's cool. And also she mentioned, as part of her comeback story, that that she went through years of emotional, physical, and financial abuse from Martin. And I thought that was interesting. And I have a little bit to say about that. And so when I did a little bit of research, first thing I researched was I looked it up, and Tisha Campbell has been around for a minute. She looks young and beautiful, but Tisha Campbell's about 52 years old, right? Which is still young. I mean, if you compare that to like a 70-year-old, but it's not young. You compare it to a 25-year-old, right? So it's really sad and scary and depressing to kind of have these sorts of problems at 52 years old when you had all this money when you were in your 20s. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't come back from that. My Uncle Charles, God rest his soul, he at 50 was flat on his back financially. We talked about it, and I said, look, you can do this. Just keep going, try again. And he tried again. And before he died in his 60s, he had taken good care of his family. He rebuilt his credit. They just bought a house, and now his wife and child are millionaires. They literally are millionaires because Uncle Charles used those last 15 years of his life in the right way. God bless Uncle Charles. Shout out to Uncle Charles. All right, so you can come back from this, right? But the question is, why do you have to? Why are so many of our celebrities in a position where they have to emerge as some sort of Lifetime movie comeback story instead of being, a success story that lasts forever? Now, there are lots of success stories out there. The success stories are out there. They just don't get as much attention as the comeback stories. And so I noticed that in 2018, that Tisha and her husband, Dwayne, filed bankruptcy with debts of about $15 million. So it sounds like too much debt. The financial doctor in me is seeing that maybe they use debt, the power of debt, in a way that that became very dangerous and very toxic. And that cost them a lot of problems. And also, I saw they had a messy divorce, pretty messy divorce, a lot of accusations. She was claiming that Dwayne did some crazy stuff with the money. I don't know if that's true or not. I can say as a black man, I just need little things that people don't believe in called proof. Maybe you call me crazy, but I'm not a black man who just believes that a black man or a black woman did something wrong just because somebody said it. I'm a black man who's seen enough of these stories that say my life is a mess. I screwed it all up. My bank account's messed up, and it's his fault. He did it. He abused me emotionally. Well, what did he do? Well, he was just mean to me. No, well, yeah. But you know what? We live in a world that believes in this thing called equality, right? And equality says that not only do you get the credit for the great things you do, but you must take responsibility for the bad things you do, right? So you get credit. You can't just take credit for the good stuff and then say, well, the bad stuff was somebody else's fault. No, you got to take the good and the bad. That's what equality means, right? So I don't really know who was abusing who. All I do know, I can say that financial abuse is a very real thing. Financial abuse does happen in relationships. I don't know if it happened in this one. It sounds like everybody was kind of making some crazy choices because they were married. There were two peas in the pod for 25, 26 years. So, but I can say financial abuse does occur. I can also say that different forms of physical and emotional abuse occurs, and that also speaks to being thoughtful about who you marry in the first place, because that merger, that big marriage that you have with another person, is huge in terms of determining your economic life. If you merge lives with a person who is financially irresponsible, then you can just kiss your black butt goodbye, because they're going to ruin everything that you ever built. They literally, when the further forward you go, the more they're going to go backward. The more you save, the more they're going to spend. The more you invest, the more they're going to take out. You're going to put the money in the account. They're going to come right behind you and take it out and go to the Gucci store, right? So cultural values, in terms of matching the values of the person you marry, is really important. Now, I don't know who the spender was in this relationship between Keisha and Dwayne. I do know this, though, that when you talk about income and wealth, first of all, income and wealth are not the same thing. A lot of people get those two things mixed up. Income is how much money you make. Wealth is how much money you keep, right? So ladies, for example, if I were you, if you like dudes that have money, that's fine. Nothing wrong with appreciating men that have money. Women are biologically wired to look for men that can provide security. A man who makes $100,000 a year is not nearly as successful or impressive as a man who has invested or saved $100,000 a year. A man who has $100,000 a year on his paycheck is not nearly as impressive as a man who has $100,000 in his portfolio. The man who has $100,000 on his paycheck has proven that he has the ability to make money. The man with $100,000 in his portfolio has proven that he has the ability to keep money. So one man has great income earning potential. The other man has great ability to provide financial security for himself and for others. So when you look at Hollywood, one of the craziest things about Hollywood is this really interesting is this. A lot of black celebrities go to Hollywood and they're surrounded by all these white people that give them these wonderful jobs, paying them all this money, and they become heavily dependent on this money. And they get to the point where, because their income is high, they think they have financial security. But I'm sorry, I'm a black man first, a finance professor second. And honestly, you know what? I don't trust those people. I don't trust those people in Hollywood. I don't believe those people are going to make you secure. I don't believe those people are really going to have your back. So to me, you got to be out there with one eye open. You got to always be ready for that day where they cancel your black butt. because you are to some extent a high paid sharecropper. You are in a space where they're going to hire you for a job and they're going to use you as long as they need you. And when they get done with you, they're going to throw you right back out there. So if you go pile up a bunch of debt, here's where I'm going with this. You pile up a bunch of debt, right? And that debt is $10-15 million. And you believe you're going to pay back this $10-15 million with income you're going to earn from your oppressor. Then you have pretty much shot yourself straight in the ass with that ridiculous financial decision, because you're going to end up in a situation where if they cut you off, if they decide that you ain't popping no more, if they decide to cancel you, if they decide that you done got a little too black on the job, y'all know how it is, right? You will be in a position where you're financially stuck. You see, debt is it can be a beautiful thing if you're using it in a healthy way. But debt is, think about it like manure, right? Manure can be wonderful because it can grow flowers and plants and stuff like that. But otherwise, manure is just a pile of crap, right? So, and it stinks, and it's not something you want to have, right? Unless you're using it for a productive purpose. So debt is like financial manure. Right? Debt can be used in a constructive way to grow billion-dollar companies. Debt can be used in a constructive way to get you your first home so you can actually own an asset. Debt can even be used to invest in the stock market and some other places, right? But if you are compiling debt because you need to go to Saint-Tropez on vacation every year and you got to drop no less than $50,000 every time you go, if you're trying to floss for your friends, or you're taking on debt because you must have the new Aston Martin, excuse me, that just came out, or the new Bentley, or you got to have Gucci and Louis and whatever European brand you want to slap on your butt, then that kind of debt is crap. That is financial crap. That is financial manure. So you are basically covering your body in your financial body in financial manure, and then eventually all those chickens gonna come home to roost. Eventually, your whole financial situation will stink if you get to the point where you cannot go back and clean up your mess. Right? I'm trying not to cuss here. I'm practicing not cussing, but y'all know really what I want to say. I'm trying not to cuss so much. So here's the deal with Tisha Campbell. I don't knock her life, right? I'm not here to really talk about another person's life. I'm just going to say that I thought this was an interesting case study for us to see a couple other factors here. Divorce is huge in wealth destruction. The average divorcee's wealth drops. It starts dropping 4 years before the divorce. 4 years going up to the divorce, both divorcees, their wealth level starts to drop for various reasons. And then when they get the divorce, their wealth levels tend to drop by about 77%. So the average divorcee's wealth level drops 77%. So what does that mean? That means that if you choose to get married, you better make damn sure that you pick somebody that you can really build with. You got to watch how they live their life, how much debt they have, how they handle their finances, what their financial plan is, what their earning potential is. Are they a saver? Are they an investor? Or are they a spender? You got to look at their financial personality. You got to study all of that, because if you go chasing the big button and smile, or you go lay down with a guy because he don't whisper some sweet nothings in your ear and didn't mention to you that he got child support on 4 kids and $150,000 in student loans, then that person is going to make it very difficult for you to build anything. And then the divorce will make it even worse, because divorce attorneys, they make about $10 billion a year from messed up relationships. So when you mess up, they get paid, right? So they're waiting for you to mess up in your life so that they can get rich off of that. The other point here is that when you think about what earning potential looks like, and you think about what it means to earn money, you must remember this. This is what a lot of Hollywood actors don't understand, I don't think, because they're not financial experts. They're experts at like acting and stuff, right? They don't understand that all money ain't good money. You know, all money ain't good money. And when you're getting all this money and you're going out to Hollywood and you got these people, you know, putting all these crazy characters in these movies, making black people look crazy and ridiculous, looking like a bunch of crazy hoes. They always got black people looking like the craziest people in the movie. So you're getting paid to do all this. And when they're paying you and you're on top, it's easy to feel like you're invincible. It's easy to feel like, okay, you can put yourself in a financial hole and your next movie is going to get you out of that hole. Well, the problem is, here's the problem. This is a newsflash. You ready? This is a surprise. This is going to surprise a lot of you. They don't care about you. They don't care nothing about you. So when they stop pretending that they care about you, when they stop writing those checks and they find a new black person to replace you with, then you're going to be stuck out there in the cold with bills and debts this high and income only that high. A lot of people don't understand that if you're making a lot of money and you don't have a lot of transferable ability to make money from multiple sources, or you only have one stream of income, making money one particular way, you are in an extremely, extremely vulnerable position. This even goes for you black folks that got like one job. Like you got one job and it's a good job and you're making good money. I applaud you. But while times are good, one financial rule is that while times are good, you prepare for when times are bad. When times are good, you got to get ready for when times are bad, because it's always going to be bad. The rain is always coming. No matter how sunny it is, it's always going to get cold, right? So you got to start preparing and building those other streams of income, putting that money in your savings account, building up that stock portfolio, getting that real estate, stacking up paper with more reinforcements. Like T.I. used to say, still cake stacked up with more reinforcements, so that when the storm comes, when those people decide they don't like you anymore, you're not going to be out here looking crazy with people saying, wait a minute, you made $80 million and you have nothing. That doesn't even make sense to most people. Most people are not going to feel sorry for you. I understand how you can run through a lot of money like that, especially if you're in Tisha Campbell's position, where you've got all these agents and managers and lawyers and everybody else to pay, and groupies and fans and people hanging on and relatives and paying, cousin reruns, rent, and all this other stuff. I get all that, right? And so all those things have to be managed if you want to be financially secure. So I don't fault Tisha Campbell at all. I don't even know her well enough to really talk about her situation in a detailed kind of way. I'm just here to really say that it really kind of blew me away to see her say that she has $7 to her name, and she had made literally tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, and was famous all throughout the world. This is very, very common. Lisa Bonet's husband, what's his face? I forgot his name. The guy that played Aquaman. You know what I'm talking about? Bonet, I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about? Jason Momoa. He said the same thing, that when he lost his job, they could barely eat. And I just think that really also shows you everything that glitters ain't gold. The people that are financially secure are not usually the people that are shining the most. The people that are shining the most usually actually are the least financially secure, because they got to spend money so they can shine, right? Shining is hard. Shining, the more you shine, the bigger your light bill is, the bigger light bill you have to pay to keep on shining like that. So when they shining and showing off and fancy cars and fancy clothes and Gucci this and Gucci that and vacations here and fancy restaurants, that's expensive. And that's literally like money just like they're just making it rain on the world, and you constantly making it rain. Well, then you're violating one key financial principle, which is that in order to have money, get this is going to really blow your mind. In order to have money, you got to keep your money. And if you give your money away, then eventually you're going to run out, right? I know that's a tough concept for people to understand. I know that's super advanced for some people, but that's how it works. You can't keep giving money away and expect to have money, because that's just not how things work. So I will just tell you this. My 2 cents, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And by the way, the Black Wealth Bootcamp's right there. If you want to join the Black Wealth Bootcamp, we start January 7th. And also, we have the Black Real Estate Weekend coming up. Just feel free to join us. It's on the 19th. And we're going to talk about real estate the whole weekend. We got real estate experts coming through the Black Business School, stuff like that. So if you're interested in real estate, we literally have experts in every area, from buying your first house to multifamily property, to commercial real estate, to tax lien investing, to becoming a real estate agent. Like, they can cover it all. So come to Black Real Estate Weekend. Just go to the URL, take a look, and register and join us. It's going to be really, really good. So you don't have to do this by yourself. Like, we can actually help you. That's what the Black Business School is here for. But the last point I'll make on this is this. When you talk about building wealth, you have to understand there's a concept that I procured kind of for what we do in the Black Business School, which is this concept called financial fertility, or economic soil. And what does that mean? Well, economic soil is kind of like the way you think about soil that grows flowers and plants out of the ground. There's good soil that's very fertile, where everything grows. And then there's some soil that's just dead, where nothing grows, right? Like desert or whatever. Well, sometimes you're in spaces in your families where you have what I consider to be an economic desert. Nothing grows. Nothing prospers, nothing flourishes economically, because the culture is so bad, right? The economic weather is so bad. The mood is so bad. The energy is so bad. The ambitions are very low to the ground. There's not much encouragement, not much support, not much guidance, not much knowledge, in terms of what to do next. So what happens is that brokenness, that financial brokenness, is very contagious. It's very contagious, and it spills over into what you're trying to do. So when you're trying to grow something in bad soil, you got to really take good care to protect that plant, right? So when you're growing something, what do I mean by this? If you're like the kid who grew up in the hood and you got a bunch of ratchet, crazy relatives who are all struggling financially, and suddenly you go to the NBA and you sign a $10 million a year contract. Well, because you're in such bad economic soil, everybody's going to come to you. If there's one tree that's planted in the ground and a bunch of little trees around it, they're all going to try to compete for the same little supply of water because there isn't much water to go around. So effectively, you have to think a little bit different. You have to understand and be aware of the environment. You have to manage everything. You don't just have to manage your money. You got to manage your life. You got to manage your relationships. You've got to manage who you loan money to and what those terms are going to be. You've also got to manage your information. So this habit people have of telling everybody how much money they have, that's a very bad habit. When you tell everybody how much money you have, you instantly make yourself a target. So being a celebrity, being a black celebrity like a Tisha Campbell is very difficult because everybody knows Tisha's paid. Everybody sees her on Martin. Everybody says, oh, you live in Hollywood. And then Tisha felt maybe her and Dwayne felt the need to fulfill that role. Come to our house. Of course, we got the biggest house. Get in our car. Of course, we got the nicest car. Of course, we have butlers and maids and servants and all kinds of stuff out there, right? And that's expensive. And then eventually it starts to wear you down. It really starts to wear you down. And so what I encourage you to do, everybody in here that's a wealth builder, say yes if you're a wealth builder. Every wealth builder is in the room. I encourage you to not put that pressure on yourself. Just let all that stuff go, man, because that culture will destroy you. It will eat you up and wear you down and stress you out and have you up in the middle of the night because you know that now that when you start making that first million, you're all like, yeah, look how much money I made. Then you get to the point where you become what I call a financial addict, because an addict is not a person who enjoys the drugs anymore. An addict needs the drug in order to function. And so for many people in Hollywood, money is their drug. They need that drug just to maintain the normalcy of their life. They gotta make $250,000 a month just to make ends meet. That's a lot of pressure. And then, so if you ever wonder why you see some of these black actors and actresses out in Hollywood, really acting like complete buffoons, really doing stuff where you're like, did you really do that? Getting on the casting couch, doing all kinds of ridiculous stuff. Well, that's because they're feeling the pressure. There's nothing more. There are a few ways to make yourself more vulnerable than for you to be addicted to a drug that is controlled by somebody else. You're addicted to something. Being an addict is bad enough. But you're addicted to something that's controlled by white people. So that is the key to their power. They control you with money. So if you want to liberate yourself from all this slavery that exists out here, then make yourself financially free. But there's a culture and an attitude to that. And you got to do that. If you don't do it, you're going to fall in the same trap as everybody else. I know a lot of rich people that are in the trap and poor people in the trap. So the trap ain't just for the hood. The trap is for I know a whole lot of educated black people that are living in the trap on a daily basis. So don't be in the trap. Think outside the trap. You can do it. Okay. So anyway, I'm about to go. We have financial workbooks and flashcards for children. If you want to train your children on wealth and the fundamentals of wealth, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. And also, because I hate Hollywood and I hate what they stand for, and I can't stand all the things they're doing to the black community and disrupting our image, we actually are creating a black-owned movie industry. And one of the filmmakers we're supporting on Black Movie Night is Mark Harris, a good, righteous brother that does very good movies. His movies have been on TV One and BET, but I respect him because he deliberately disavowed Hollywood. He works right in Inglewood, right in the heart of Chicago, and he's bringing life and prosperity there. The politicians ignore Inglewood. The police only come down there when they're ready to beat somebody upside the head. Mark goes down there and brings opportunity to the hood, and that's what I'm talking about. So we got to support this brother. He's going to show his film Stock Option on Thursday the 17th, and it's totally free. So you can go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net right there on the screen. And then also there's another film that I was an executive producer on called Happy, which shows how modern economic systems have their roots in ancient Africa and Egypt and stuff like that. Taki Grant spent 5 years making this movie. He's another one of those black directors that our community tends to ignore because we'll pay attention to what Disney did or whatever. I don't care about Disney making Black Panther Part 2 because right in your community, you have real Wakandas, real T'Challas. You have real Black Panthers in your community doing real work where they're putting you first. So I hope that you will join me in supporting these filmmakers. Feel free to go to blackmovienight.net to take a look. If you're interested, that's blackmovienight.net. So some of you are asking for the URLs again. I'll give them to you again real quick so you can take a look. There's blackrealestateweekend.com. Next week, it's all about real estate. Come on in. You're welcome to join us. Number 2, blackmovienight.net. Number 3, financialworkbooks.com. So hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I hope this conversation helped you. And once again, this is not against Tisha Campbell Martin. I'm not gossiping about her life. I wish her very, very well. But I thought this story was an interesting way to discuss some of the things we have to understand about how economics works so that you can be secure. It's not about her. It's really about you and about your legacy. So God bless you. Take care and have a good night. I'll see you soon. Peace.